Should be good. We're back. Another Armfighter report. It's Wednesday, February 28th, 2024. I'm joined by my man Andrew Quady, and tonight we have the pleasure of talking with world level puller and creator of the Flash Bracket System, the Arm Wrestling ELO rating system, better known as AERS, and most recently, the Super 64 event that's this Friday, which is the largest double elimination bracket in arm wrestling history. Corey, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you guys?
Doing all right.
Good.
Andrew, you doing all right?
Yes, sir.
So right off tops, Corey, how did this whole Super 64 idea come up?
Well, I felt I also when I was up and coming in the sport, I had a hard time going to tournaments without making money and stuff like that, and like just like everyone else. And it's always been a concern of mine to figure out a way to get more people to tournaments. Not so much having more tournaments, but getting more people to go to tournaments. Because as we all know, there's a lot of people who like to stay in one region, not go anywhere because of finances or this or that or whatever. And one of the biggest things that I see here in Wyoming throughout the years was bull riding. And bull riding started with the whole concept of let's throw in some money into a pool, we'll have a rodeo, and basically the winner takes home half of the pool, and we just keep growing the pool over and over and over. So the concept is the same. I wanted to start a pool, so I built a mutual fund with Luke Polsher out of Northwestern Mutual. We're putting all the entry fee money into the pool. We're also putting all the sponsorship money. Now they have extra sponsors, and all that gets put into the pool. And as the guys win the tournament or place or whatever, now we have a couple of placements that are happening. They become sponsored athletes, and they basically write off expenses to us and then or to me, and then I'll send them money or whatever. The only caveat there obviously is the fact that the events that they go to must submit their results to AERS. There's many ways to do that, and or worlds. Those are the only things that will allow the monies to be expendable for. So flights, travel, hotel, entry fees, the whole nine yards. But it has to be AERS involved somehow. And that's pretty much it. I just want to make the average level guy, the guy who's coming to every tournament, who just needs help going to more tournaments, an easier time at going to more tournaments. So, this was the easiest, simplest method of doing it. It's never been done before. And I'm not going to lie, it is the most stressful thing I've ever done. I, uh,
Yeah.
I, I can firmly tell you that I have ran many, many tournaments, and this is by far the most stressful thing I've ever done.
Yeah, I
Uh,
bet.
it's not the same as running a tournament at all. Like not even remotely the same. And um, I think most of the guys in the event now are in there. We do have 64 again. We had a couple issues last 2 or 3 weeks here. We had 15 plus dropouts I had to replace at the last minute. But
Wow.
but if everyone, so I was figuring this out actually. If everyone would have stayed who was actually in the tournament originally, we'd have over 100. So it's kind of crazy that I even was able to get 64. I could have been at 100. Um,
Wow.
I'll tell you
but
what,
yeah,
I
so
had my
that's
doubts.
yeah, you weren't the only one.
Yeah.
Uh,
We all had like ideas of how many would drop out at the end.
Hmm.
right.
Yeah.
And I think so. I'm gonna be real here. I think the biggest thing that is going for this is the simple fact that we are regulating the people who can get into the event into a certain category of individuals so that there's not the super elite in here. There's not the high end pro in here. You have to meet the requirements. You're all like competitors and you're all seated. So I think that combination is what's making this successful. Like what Lorraine's doing, for an example. I think that will work in a small spec. I don't know if in the long run he'll get all 32. I've just noticed that is literally the first thing they ask me is like, well, who else is in this thing? And then I have to describe how it works and everything else. And they're like, oh, so you're not going to let, Michael Todd in here. Well, no, Michael Todd doesn't qualify. So yes, you're the narrowing it down of people into a small spectrum of people who are like pollers who may have never polled each other, is what's driving the force of, hey, I actually have a shot at this now. And then on top of that, we took the bracket, so a normal 64-man bracket, for say. Think of it as like an upper 32 and a lower 32. And the upper 32 comes together and gets a guy from that spot. And then the lower 32 comes together and gets a guy from that spot. So in theory, if a guy from the lower 32, so the sub lower 32 of the massive amount of bracket, goes and gets that match, the single match, he will make it into the top 4 automatically. So he's going to be a sponsored athlete, but he's got to beat out the rest of the 32 guys just like himself. So
what
very difficult.
are the parameters? What's the rating spread for this bracket?
So initially it was under a sub 1550, 1555 for this weight class. And I should preface this with how we define that. So in AERS, with the background stuff, we can actually pull out and define definitive lines of where a amateur, novice, and pro actually exist in the terms of amateur, novice, and pro. In the 242-pound class, it is roughly around the 1555 mark. That is when you start kind of jumping into like mid-range, low-level pro kind of area. And anything below that is those guys who just haven't won enough, haven't done enough, or just are still low amateurs. So taking into consideration that first, that's the first thing we did. Then, since we have now a bunch of guys who are 220 guys, and we have a bunch of guys who pull supers, but they pull 242s as well. What we did is we took the combination of their area scores for the 220 class, the 242 class, and the supers class, merged them into one, and created a new rating for them for that one particular class. And then we also pulled a best wins. So we have a rating for your overall best wins, your 5 best wins. Took that into consideration, and then defaulted you down a little bit if you're coming from a lower weight class. So combining all that stuff together, we then use those numbers to seed you into the bracket. So very, very, that's pretty high level, but that's basically what's happening here.
Okay, and for anybody that's not aware, you could check all of this out at AERS.com, AERS.com, and you could look up your own rating and see where you're at and everything. The amount of data that he has is unbelievable. It's phenomenal, actually.
Yep.
Yeah, AERS.com, or ARM.com, sorry, my bad. AERSARM.com.
Yeah, it is AERS Arm. I messed that up, too. I will post it in there. So
is it AERS or AERS?
AERS. I say AERS like the god, but
it's actually
okay.
AERS.
Yeah.
Corey just can't pronounce anything, even his own names.
Pretty much,
much.
That's basically how this works.
So it's just AERS, Arm Wrestling ELO rating system is what it stands for. It is phenomenal. So what's the rating spread after all that was said and done between the top guy and the 64th guy? How many points is different?
So yeah. Also remember the 32 and the 32. So think of an upper echelon 32 guys, and there's a lower echelon 32 guys. So when you consider those two levels, there's a fairly big jump. Like Greg Brown and those guys are fairly low because they're low end amateurs. But I would say it's probably about 200 points from the number 1 to the number 0 at the bottom. But if you break it into the 32s, right? The number 1 guy in the 32 to the 32 guy, that's only probably about 60 points, maybe 50 points.
Okay, and you have that
the lower
seated.
section.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
So the very
close.
first match is 1 versus 2.
Yep.
Okay.
And also on the B side, if let's say 1 and 2 pull and 3 and 4 pull, and 2 loses and 4 loses, 2 and 4 pull next in the B side.
Oh, even on
So
the B
it's-
side too. So
Yeah, you can assume that in this bracket, the first 3 matches will be the hardest matches of the entire tournament.
Sure.
Because up until the 3rd match, you are pulling someone exactly the same as you,
Yep.
and in the 4th match, you start crossing over, and then the 5th match, you go even further. So
Yeah.
a guy who's on the bottom side of that bracket is going up the whole time. The guy on the other side is coming down the whole time. So you will pull someone like yourself more often in the beginning. It's the first basically 4 matches is what's going to suck the most. Can
Was
you
it
make
hard-
it through the first 4?
was it hard to fill the 64, or was it just like tons of people were rolling in and it was no problem whatsoever?
I would say, man, that's hard. In the beginning, it was fairly slow going. I probably had 20, 30 maybe going in the beginning, and it was pretty good, pretty consistent. Onesie twosies here and there, and then I would say when I really started pushing on different other podcasts, stuff like that on Facebook, slamming it everywhere, it went out of control. And the next thing you know, I had 50. Next thing I had 60, and then 10 would drop, and I'd have another 10. And like I said, I probably could have filled a 100-man bracket already at this point. So at a certain point in time, it really took off. And then once we got the other monies and the sponsorship from Vitacell and everybody else and Bob Brown, it really went out of control real quick. And I don't think at this point going to the next weight class is going to even remotely be difficult because of what we're able to accomplish with this one. And then eventually, then maybe the money will get even bigger, where it's not 5,000, it's 10,000 or 20,000 or 100,000 for that matter. So
Technically, it is 10,000, right?
yeah, so first place is technically 5,000 in reimbursement sponsorship and $5,000 Vitacell shot. So
yeah, that's
it is technically
that's a
10.
huge win for especially
Wow.
like
No
a
shit.
mid-tier pro, or high-end amateur.
Yeah, so you got we're paying out now, not paying out, but sponsoring out through 8th place now. And so the let's see here. I have it written down because I always forget what the numbers are. So first place, 5,000 and 5,000. Second place is getting a $1,250 reimbursement sponsorship. Third place is getting $750. Fourth place is getting $500. Fifth place and 7th place get their entry fee back. Now, on top of that, just the money end, we also have an embroidered backpack that's for travel for the first place guy, an embroidered coat for the first place guy. We have we're going to give away straps, custom made straps. We're giving away medals. Everyone's getting a medal depending on the placement they get. We're giving away bands, a set of bands, another coat that's a generic coat kind of with a smaller logo. We're giving away a pendant for first place. He's going to have a Super Series pendant here, or AERS Super 64 pendant. And then we're doing a 4x5 poster that everyone's going to sign, and you're going to be able to take that home when you win. There is what else? Oh, and I'm also doing a special award that the referees will choose. So any match that's out of the top 8 that they feel is the best, most competitive, most whatever, and the guy who wins that match will get a AERS helmet. It's a Spartan helmet, kind of like the ones you guys did at Strongest Badge one time. But they'll win that helmet, and then the overall guy who wins again has a big red AERS trophy too. So a ton of other stuff going on.
That's a lot.
Of stuff. Yeah, it is. So
That's
do you
definitely
have
the most anybody gives away?
you have some
I've heard.
alternates scheduled, just in case there's backups?
Oh, bro, I've exhausted
got
all
20 guys,
alternates
right?
at this point.
So at this point,
I-
if somebody doesn't show, it's just like a buy, right?
It's fuck it, it's over. Forget it.
You mentioned the refs. Who do you got reffing these?
Oh yeah, so we have Luke Polsher, we have Tim Talmadge, we have Steve Miller, and we have Michael Edwards.
Okay,
So
so
two
two tables.
tables. Two
Awesome.
tables. We'll run the first down to about the top 24-16 area. We'll run two tables, and then we're gonna run our super match, which we should mention that too. And then we'll switch to one table. So
Super match.
Yeah, who's a super
oh
match?
yeah, so part of the Super 64 series, the concept is to use the extra money that we pool to bring in a high-end super match. And this year's this event's super match is going to be Nate McCallan versus Paul Passamore. Um, Nate McCallan is rated very high.
Nice.
Paul Passamore is just below him, not too far down the line. I personally think this match is going to be really, really good. Nate's an outside guy. He pulls a posting top roll, which usually Paul Passmore has a really good defense against that. But Nate has a really big arm, real long, big hands. I think Paul has enough side pressure to beat him. It's just whether he can pull him down with a broke hand is the key to this match. But that's kind of the concept here. I want to be able to. Oh no, and I should mention the with the pooled money from the 64 guys. With the extra part of that money, we pay for expenses and everything. Got to pay for expenses. But the extra money, if there's $500, if there's $700, if there's $1,000, I'm 100% dedicated to calling two guys saying, "Hey, we're doing a super 64 with the heavyweights. You two heavyweights are the ones I want to pick because of your close in rating or whatever. I'm gonna put $500 on the table, show up and win it. So, or $1,000 or whatever. So, no entry fee to them, no nothing. They get the shirts and everything for free. They just show up and compete, and they have a chance of money. So, because the pros should be rewarded, they shouldn't have to go and win this like this at this tournament. They'll be involved in our Super Series stuff. That's a one-on-one match or a round robin potentially. And the lower level guys, they will be in the 64 stuff, earning a spot to get into those other ends where they just show up and win money. So the Paul Passmore match is I gave them 500. They threw an extra 200 on top. So I believe there's 700, 750 or something on this thing now. If I can, I'll get it up to 1,000 by the tournament. And it's just they no entry fee, no nothing. They get shirts, everything for free, and they just show up and win.
Right hand or left hand?
These guys they were initially gonna do just right, but they are gonna pull both. Right hand is the money match. So Nate's obviously a lot better left-handed, typically speaking, but he's still really, really strong right-handed. So it's going to be a good match. Nate's rated really high up in the supers. Initially, I wanted them. Oh, he's going to be tough, man.
Yeah, he's a monster, man.
Nate typically was weighing around 260s, 270s. So he's coming down to 250. They agreed on 252. I was hoping they both be at 242 for this, but they agreed at 252, which is fine. No big deal. But Nate, like I said, Nate's a posting top roll, big hand, and Paul is not a top roller. He is a side pressure only kind of guy. He can pull with a backhand. And I kind of feel that this match is going to go right in the middle of the table, and Paul's going to have a very difficult time moving his arm from that spot, and it's going to be who gives out first. Think of it as like the Bishop match that was like forever ago with Paul, where Bishop kind of held him on the middle of the table, broke his hand back, and it wasn't going anywhere. That's kind of what I see happening, but Nate is fast. Bishop pulls fairly slow most of the time. Nate can hit really hard and really fast, so he might catch him more towards the bottom. But can he finish, or does Paul end up pulling him back? There's so many scenarios there. It's going to be a burner either way.
Best of 3 or 5?
Yeah, they're doing. I think they're doing best of 5, I believe. I'm pretty sure, but both hands. Yeah, and then we're gonna, like I said, we'll run the 2 tables down to the top 16-24 area, and then we're gonna switch over to 1 table. And when we switch the table is when we run that match. So it'll be about halfway through the tournament. So, and one of the biggest, it's funny. The guys we have a chat, Facebook chat. It was the worst thing I did, but create a big old Facebook.
That's
chat.
a lot of guys to have a chat with.
Yeah, it is.
Dude, they're insane. They're insane. I don't know what I was thinking.
More than 10 would be crazy, I would think.
I keep telling them, I was like, keep the chat open so I can give you like important information. They're like, yeah, fuck that. Just like, you suck, Frank. Blah. So no. What I was gonna say is what the fuck was I gonna say? They go off about all kinds of crazy stuff with the rules and everything else, all the time in this thing. And they brought up something. It's amazing to me that everyone runs things so different all over the place. And you know me, I'm strict on rules, strict on everything. And the only difference for AERS is that we run 3 fouls. That's all the only difference.
Okay. Armwrestling does 3, I think.
Oh, AERS does running fouls, but they also do a 3.
You're
three
right.
outrun. Yeah. We do normal fouls, but it's
okay.
just 3 fouls. So.
Okay.
But you would not believe how many people just don't understand.
They have no clue. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's crazy. It's just crazy. But yeah, no, it's gonna be exciting. That I don't know
if
I'll
rated guy.
I think it's Fabian, right?
Well, okay, so technically speaking, Fabian is one of the highest rated.
Fabian Cologne.
Yeah, Fabian Collin. Yeah, Fabian is probably the first or second highest one. I think now though, and this is slightly overflated because I think he just doesn't travel enough, is Drew Bishop. Drew Bishop is on the right hand side now. Mm-hmm. He's on the opposite direction of Fabian. He has a lot of really good wins, but he doesn't travel as much. So we just don't know if his wins are good in his area because he pulls good people, or if his wins are good everywhere. So he barely skims in simply because he's a lighter weight guy who's going into a 242 class. And that's the other thing. Drew is really good in the 42 or 220 class. He's not so good in the 42 class.
Yeah.
So
is it mainly is there an average weight, do you know? Or is it mainly 242 guys or 220, or it's just all kind of 50-50?
Should be. Well,
I would say the average is probably 242 or 230s. There's only probably 4 heavyweights, like super heavyweight guys that are in here that are probably having to lose some weight. And the rest of them are all 230 guys, 220 guys, that basically pull 42s because they don't want to go down to 220 all the time.
I mean, Bishop's like a 200 guy. Really, he make 98.
Yeah, he's like 215. Yeah.
209 easily. Yeah.
Although I do have him as one of my favorites when I looked at the bracket on the top 3 on that right side.
You want? I can share the bracket if you want.
Yeah.
I haven't actually shown anybody. The guys have been bugging the shit out of me because they want to see it.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Did you change it? Because I saw it on the website.
I was wondering if you. Oh, okay.
No, I've had to change it like 7 times because the damn people are dropping out. So I told them I'm not showing them because it's bad juju.
Gotcha. So okay, I was looking at the bracket on the website that you had.
You don't have to if you're not prepared to share it.
No, I can show it. They've been bugging the shit out of me anyway, so I might as well show it. And I'll just tell them to watch your stuff.
There you go.
But my personal, at least off the top, I liked Fabian, obviously, Rance Clayton, and Nathan Johnson. Those were my top 3, I think, on the left side that I liked. And then on the right side was Drew Bishop, Easton McCormick, and I was stuck, but I'm thinking maybe Gagnabin. But I kind of like Robert Lopez's shot over there too. So
who?
So
Robert
on the
Lopez.
left hand.
Okay.
I can't share the screen with you for some reason.
I see Drew Bishop beating Robert.
Well, So the
Yeah, but he's
left hand
kind
side
of
is
farther away, right? So
the
Yeah.
left hand side is slightly changed. Probably more than anything, actually. The left hand side, left side of the whole thing is definitely changed. But you still got Fabian and Chris Kaufman, Oscar Barrios and Rance, Ryan Bath, Nathan Johnson. The next two are different. It's Sergey Marushkin and Derek Gilly. Sergey is from Colorado. He's very
that's
good
right.
top roller.
Is Gillian in there? Is that who you're talking about? Danny
Yeah.
Gillian?
No,
Yeah, I
no.
forgot
So
it.
Sergey is from Colorado. Derek Gilly's from Montana. Those two are
Derek
pulling
Gilly.
first.
Okay.
He's very good too. Then you have Edo Musialik pulling Jody Williams first match. Then you have Danny Gillian pulling Isaac Russell, which I'm gonna tell you right now, that match is gonna be match of the day. It's gonna be a friggin' war.
Oh man, that sucks for the first match for them.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, Danny Gillian is definitely a guy to watch out for in this too, and I think Jody Williams could make some noise.
Yep.
Yeah. So then you got Lewis Horvath and Sean McVeigh out of Texas. And then you got Ben Sayapoli and Vince Gordon out of Colorado. Vince jumped in last minute. He's one of my alternate guys. So that's one of the upper side. I'll say the other upper side now. So we got Drew Bishop going against Troy Brown, which is gonna be massive burner. That's gonna be ridiculous. Jared Gagnaban is pulling David Horniak. That is gonna be a really good match too. Joe Fair, that just pulled in Montana, is going to pull Easton McCormick now.
Guys, watch out for Easton, man. He is a monster, and he is coming on strong, real strong.
Joe's gonna have his hands full with Easton.
Yep.
Jess Hurley is pulling Rodney Gregg. Robert Lopez is pulling Christo Bell. Tracy Johnson and Casey Allen are pulling first. Frank Callahan and Taylor Palmer. And then Jonathan Vasquez and David Hobbs. That is the upper 32 guys. Not much of the right hand side has changed other than the Joe Fair match. That one's basically changed. The lower 32 is where it gets really crazy because a lot of people don't know these guys, and
you got some sleepers in there, right?
There's sleepers. Yeah. There's all kinds of weird shit. So on the left-hand lower side, this one's the one that's changed the most. We got Bobby Miller pulling Jordan Spadell, Josh Rice pulling Jeremy Woodard, Ben Bledsoe is going to pull Ryan Stalker.
Oh, Bledsoe's in there? Okay.
Yeah, Bledsoe jumped in last minute too.
He's like a 172 guy.
He's
but he's a monster. But man, that's a lot of weight to be giving up.
Then you got Justin Tanner pulling Chris Knudsen, Alex Shue pulling Tyler Austin, Brennan Till pulling Dean Ballinger, David Deal pulling Adrian Meisner, and Greg Stover pulling Johnny Nazik. So a lot of guys you probably don't recognize.
Dean Ballinger's on my team. Got some good.
Dean.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Dean's gonna pull. What did I say? David Deal? No, he pulls Brennan Till. Brennan's out of Idaho, I think.
Okay.
And then on the other side, we got John Groslack versus Edgar Barrios, Mark Metzger, and Charles Astor. This next match is an interesting one. Andrew Quintana and Jake Collins. Andrew's from Montana, Jake's from California. They have been going to Pound Town in the freaking chat, dude. And now they have an extra $100 on the table for this one match only. They want to throw extra money on the table. So
nice.
I said, yeah, whatever. Let's roll.
Hell yeah.
It's cool. Andrew has been talking so much that he guarantees that he places in the money. Like he thinks he wins the whole dang thing pretty much. I mean, all the power to him. I think it's awesome that he has high hopes.
Yeah.
It might happen. Who knows? But
anybody named Andrew Q has got to be a bad dude. So I'm with him.
I mean, there you go.
I mean, you got to come into this thing thinking you're going to win, right? I mean, that's the point. So.
Yep.
Well,
go to the pad every match.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So then we got Justin Deal, Danny Sonner, John Ritter, and Andy Stanford. Miska Mela. I can't even say this guy's name.
It's like
Melikanyan.
Malikian.
Malikan, yeah. Chris Mace. Those two are pulling. Greg Brown's pulling Avery Candman, and Nicholas Anthony is pulling Ryan Bussier. But like I said, I mean, one guy from that lower 32 is going to make into the top four and get sponsored. Who it is, I have no earthly idea. Like I can't pick one.
That's Greg Brown from Arizona.
Yes, Greg Brown from Arizona. He is he's one of the lowest rated competitors.
Yeah.
So but yeah, like in that lower 32, you're probably
so that's a pretty good level. I mean,
yeah, all those guys are low end amateur, low end pro guys. They're right there within 100
amateur,
points.
Right?
yeah, high amateur,
Yeah.
low pro.
Yeah. High.
No?
Sorry, high end amateur, low pro.
Yeah.
Within about 100 points of each other when you combine everything. I really can't. And this is the crazy part. Everyone asks me, well, how could you pick a winner? I'm like I have no idea, man.
You can't pick a winner. I mean, not with any confidence.
No. I mean, I feel certain matches like, okay, I did personally pick some of the matches based on how close they were to be more competitive at certain spots because I know the people, I pulled them, I know how they pull and stuff. But the ratings made sense too, so I didn't just like throw them together. But there's a lot of matches that the first round is going to be so freaking exciting to see that I have no earthly idea what happens after that.
Yeah, who knows?
I love seeing it, man. I'm a tournament kind of guy, especially over super matches. I really like tournaments and big brackets. So this is just completely amazing to me. What you're doing here is phenomenal. How are we going to watch this? I know you have a Super 64 live section on your website. Is that where it's going to be? And what's going on with the live stream?
Yeah, so we're doing a couple things this first go. Obviously, we're looking at expanding, maybe pay-per-view in the long run or something. But for right now, what we're doing is Facebook. We're doing Instagram and potentially YouTube. I'm kind of wary on the YouTube thing because of music. And then and the AERS Arm live page. So we're going to stream through all three of those at the same time. You'll be able to watch it in any of those. We've already tested the live app before on the Facebook page plus the website at the same time. Works pretty slick. So one of those three platforms would be the main base that we push through. The concept here, and I get this a lot, is think of it as like a tournament, like what a normal stream tournament would be, with interviews, with commentating a little bit. Like we want to have a camera off to the side that I can stop the guy as he's coming off the table and like ask him questions. What is he thinking? A little bit more involved tournament, to get more of a perspective of what's going on in the matches rather than just we're watching two guys arm wrestle. Yeah. We're not really super strict on a timeline. We have a timeline, but we don't have to be like super crazy because the brackets, it is what it is. There's 128 matches. It's going to go roughly about 1.5 minutes per match. So I know exactly about how long this is going to take. So I can be lenient. I can ask questions. I can be more thorough with the whole thing and just kind of bring a new light to how you present a stream. Not so much as just two guys sitting behind the camera and just talking about what they're seeing. I want to actually talk to the guys and, kind of like the interview thing after your UFC fighter gets done type of deal. So, especially after that match with $100, and I gotta interview whoever wins or loses. So,
yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I just want to expand, want to get a little crazy. So another thing on the mics there will be myself and Isaac Luna, and potentially Robert Kelly, or we might bring in on a poller or something here and there, maybe Jody or whatever. Frank probably will jump in. But me and Isaac will be the main kind of interview guys. Uh, dressed up and everything. So trying to make it as professional as possible. We have jerseys. We have, I tried to get everyone to wear the same kind of pants and stuff.
The jerseys are slick too, by the way. Those are pretty awesome. You did a good
Yeah, I
job
know.
designing those. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw those too. Nice.
Yeah, that was a big chunk of change for those guys, but
I can imagine.
we did custom AERS referee shirts too. They're all the real nice what are the breathable collared, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, no slips here. We're just doing everything right the first time, and I don't want to go too crazy, because we have a small budget, but I'm hopeful that after this one we land a really big sponsor and go crazy. It would not surprise me if I could do 2 of these at a whole weekend, or maybe double, like a 128. And I know that's crazy to even remotely think that I could get 128 guys into one class at the same time, but I border crazy all the time, so I feel like I have to try. I mean, if I can hit 64, I can hit 120.
If you did 128, could you do it in the same range? Could you do 200 points?
Oh yeah.
Or would it spread out?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for
Okay.
sure. Especially in certain weight classes. Oh yeah, we could
certain weight
easily do it.
classes. Yeah, 176, 198. Yeah.
So what's next up? What's your next target weight class?
Man, everyone keeps asking me that. I kind of, depending on what my venue wants to do, I kind of want to do supers. I don't think they get too much love, especially the middle kind of pack guys. They don't get too much love. The big, super pros and stuff do. But I kind of want to do supers.
I agree.
And I know it's going to sound nuts, but I really want to do youth, and I really want to do a women's class. And I know the women's one's going to be really hard, but but the youth one
real hard.
Yeah, the youth one brings a lot of interesting possibilities.
You could definitely fill that one, I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Kids want to pull that. It's just I'm not sure you got 64 female pullers.
There, you don't want to know what the number was overall. We already pulled it.
Yeah.
There was roughly average active pullers last year was about 3,500 pullers, and only about 125 active women. So it's not a very good number.
But
there was more youth
than.
That's all I said. Yeah, I mean, there's enough to get 60 of them. So, and maybe
going down to 32 if you couldn't get the 64. Yeah.
So that was the other thing, is maybe we do a youth at 32 and a women's at 32, and I think we can hit that.
Take the pressure off yourself and just do 32.
Yeah.
And
you could do it where it's
reachable, reasonable target.
Right. Yeah. And I think the supers, you say, hey, we'll do the supers and we'll do the youth the next day, and maybe they bring their family that pulls too, and it's their son, and there we go. I got it. Yeah, and you don't have to weigh super. If you can make the weight, which anybody can make supers, anybody could come in with their son or daughter or whatever. So that's kind of the idea there.
So with 128 though, you're probably looking at more like a 5-hour deal, right? Because you're looking at 250 matches, right?
6 out,
I would be looking at 3 to 4 tables, dropping down to 2, then dropping down to 1 kind of thing.
Ultimately, though, here's the thing: once you get it streamlined a little more, you're very capable of running under a minute a match. You don't have to do a minute and a half a match.
Oh yeah.
Just run more tables instead of the 2, like you said. Just run 4 and should be fine.
Yeah, that's really what this comes down to. Is once you streamline it and you got a little kinks out of it, it's going to be a cake, because it's one class. You're not switching classes. You're not switching tables. You're not moving hands around. You take all the crap out of it that we normally have at tournaments, and you're just saying, Robert Kelly and I have been working on a way to present the next 4 matches, so you'll be able to know, I'm up in 3 matches. I'm up in 2 matches. I'm on the table 1 or whatever. So that'll be going in the stream too. So I think, like I said, once we get the stream down, once we get the timings and get all the loose ends out of the way, the money is easy. That that pays for itself. It's
Yep.
it's these guys providing it. We're just running the service pretty much at this point.
Hmm.
And by next year, we could have 50,000 plus in this thing, and we're doing $10,000 ones. We're doing $20,000 ones, and then 128 doesn't even sound that bad because
Mm-mm.
you're paying out sponsorships all the way out to 16th place or something. So
Man, I would love to see a 128 person bracket, man. I would love to see
Dude,
it. I mean, even
we'll
this
see
one.
how
I'm
let's see
so
how
This one
Saturday
excited.
is
goes, and then I'll let you
this
know.
one looks like
Yeah.
I mean, never seen anything like that.
No, I'm so excited, man. I'm appreciative for what you've done. I love big tournaments, so this is going to be awesome
Yep,
to
me
watch.
too.
Super exciting.
Yep.
I'm definitely going to be tuning in.
Oh yeah.
No matter what, you're going to keep it in the same location, right? You're always doing this out of your
Yeah.
hometown or wherever you're at.
Well, so Loveland is about an hour from me, south. It's only about an hour from the airport, so it's away from Denver and all the craziness. So that's kind of one of the good things about it. The great thing about this place is the lady is super awesome. She's willing to sponsor the tournament every time with money. She's willing to do whatever we want. She has 3 venues. And so we're doing one venue for weigh-ins. They're giving 25% discounts on food to the other venue for all arm wrestlers. They're giving a bunch of other things too. But the biggest thing is they're sponsoring every single event. So they're providing money, whatever, for every event. And so, and no, I mean the only small bad thing is that they're slightly smaller venue, but we don't need nothing crazy, really, if you think about it. Their venue, I think, is a max 170 or something, but they also have those like kind of garage door deals that can open up and you can like be outside and listen and watch it and stuff. And so in the summertime, it'll be a lot nicer. Um, but yeah, they're super excited. They have a nice stage. They're already set up for streaming, which is great. They have TVs everywhere we can broadcast across. So if you're in the venue and you can't see the stage because it's only viewable on one side, you can watch all the TVs and watch it, or watch on your phone, or be outside and watch it because the sound goes everywhere. So overall, it's a nice place. It doesn't mean that I'd only run it there, but they are a pretty awesome venue. So
Sounds awesome, man. Again,
Yeah.
I appreciate everything you've done, not only for this tournament, which is crazy, but the actual air system itself. The amount of data that you're bringing in and how much information it's giving is it's just unmatched, and it's just an awesome idea that you had and you were able to put it together. So I really appreciate all the work you've put in for that. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that appreciates that. Like the whole arm wrestling community should, if they don't, because it's huge. It really is huge. So the work that you've put in is not going unnoticed.
yeah,
It's amazing, man. It really is.
Yeah.
yeah.
I agree.
I mean, I really hope in the future here. I mean, I don't like to put myself on a pedestal or anything like that, but I feel like it's a platform that we can all use to come together, and it's like you guys. I'm on Armfighter rankings too. I help you guys with that stuff every once in a while too, but uh, I don't look at it as a ranking. I look at it more of a competitive skill performance
Mm-hmm.
and the ability to look up anyone at any time and say who have they pulled, who have they lost to, what tournaments are they going to, blah blah, all that kind of stuff. It's more like the biggest record database that you've ever seen. So
Yeah.
if we start combining together, like if I've talked to Schumer about this multiple times, is if we combine our event stuff together, if we combine our the rankings and the ratings into more of a concise platform where you can see a rank and how they rate against each other and all that kind of stuff. It will only help the sport because we're all trying to go to the same thing. Just like when Northeast Board was here, when it's all in one spot, it was a little bit better off, even though people still argued and bitched and did whatever on there. But
Yeah.
it it's only best for everybody. I've already talked to Luke Polsher about potentially bringing in the referee staff, and we have a bunch of performance metrics that we're looking at adding onto, so you can see like your progressions over the sport and how you're going up and down and who you pull and you know that kind of stuff. We're looking at awards and badges. We call them badges. So like kind of like a video game, like once you hit a certain level, you get a certain badge kind of deal. We're looking into a whole bunch of stuff like that to make it more exciting. Obviously, we've been looking into states and comparing the ability to compare your state to get rid of the stupid nonsense of state rankings and stuff like that. Um, but the idea is to bring everyone together to not have to go a million places to look for every event that's going on. And Schumer, it's funny because Schumer and I were literally just arguing about this weekend, but it is really ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie, Facebook is just out of control. So,
Oh yeah, it's been that way.
Yeah, I still stand by the Armfighter calendar. So, and
no,
as far as the
great.
rankings,
It's the best one.
yeah, I look at it completely different. And the AERS system has completely helped us with the rankings. I mean, it's a resource for us to be able to go in and find out who this guy is. Did he pull? I mean, I'm on there all the time just looking somebody up. When somebody asks me about somebody, I just pull it up right away. Like, okay, he looks all right, or I'm seeing this or that. So I see it as something totally different, but definitely, I mean, it's so useful. I think that our job has gotten a lot easier doing the rankings, having the AERS system in place,
Yeah, no, I tell that to everybody. It's like they always want to compare the two, and I'm like, they're not really comparable. You can't use a ranking to define a rating. You're using a rating to help justify, and we're not really trying to be a ranking for any reason whatsoever. We want to be a different entity in itself. So
we're doing top 15, man. You got 4,500
top
people or
top
3,500 people. Yeah, everybody. You got the bottom guys, the lowest guys on there. So, no, it's amazing.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, and in that aspect alone is what I think really a lot of people like to see. They want to see, hey, I just started arm wrestling. I wonder where I can compare against the rest of the United States. And next thing you know, they're like, oh, I'm in the top 750. Mm-hmm. It's like, awesome, good job, guy. But
shoot for
that stuff's cool.
For sure.
Yes. Yeah. Next thing they're like, well, I just beat this guy. He's at 650. I should be jumping up a lot. Yeah, you're gonna slowly go. Keep arm wrestling. You'll get there.
So have you gotten most everybody involved, or how far are you away from getting all the tournaments to submit to your program?
Yeah. I would say we're well in the 95 to 98%. There is only about 2 promoters that don't want to submit and I'm not saying that they don't want to submit. They do not want to submit in a format that is acceptable to merge into the system. That is the problem with those 2. But I would say well into 95%. Obviously, anyone who uses my bracket system that exports right into it, no problem. Bill's system exports into it, no problem. We built an export for that. Drew Bissop's system exports right automatically. And there's a guy in Utah that his system exports automatically. So it's not that they have to use mine or, whatever. It just has to be able to come out into a format that is acceptable. And I would say we're roughly in the 90-95% range. So 1 or 2s come through. And a lot of times it's the super matches and stuff, round robins, those mega practices people call, that I kind of miss on. And I see a Facebook post for it. And I'm like, oh, shit, I got to go yell at them real quick. And always messaging somebody about some tournament or some match I saw, stuff like that.
When you say format, you mean like PDF or something like that?
Yeah, just the main thing there is that there is particular brackets, or I shouldn't even say the word bracket. There's particular way of running matches that does not run in a format that tells you pulled me at this time and then you pulled this guy at this time, and so on and so forth.
I got you. Yeah.
There is stuff like the pool system, for an example. Like Sean Hancock runs the PAL stuff, which I made a version to convert that. But if you looked at it as a base, you would not know who pulls who. It's just a random selection. But they make a log so I can actually convert it. But
Nobody runs that system,
there's certain
though,
promoters. Sean runs it every once in a while. Yeah. And I built an exporter to make it
I thought he
convert,
was running
which
your system,
was a nightmare.
Yeah, they should be
For the
running
most
your
part.
system.
Yeah, I mean, it's, but there's two other individuals that want to send stuff, but the way they do the bracket, it is impossible to tell who pulled who, and the order for that matter. So that is the biggest problem with those two people. I really hope one day they change or just move to a way I can convert the data, because unfortunately the way they do it, there's no way to tell. The information's not real. It's basically made up brackets, which
is it on a computer though? Like they run a system?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
It's all paper, and I'm sure multiple people already know who I'm talking about, but
I think I know who you're talking about.
I don't like to ridicule anyone about how they do certain things. It's
right.
I'm willing to help anyone get into a system that is compatible, or help them learn something different or whatever, or even they could essentially take what they're doing, which is fine, and just put the names in the spots so I know at this time this person pulled this time, and give me that paper that way, and it'd be fine. But it'd be a lot more manual work on my part, but it is possible. But unfortunately, at the moment in time when they run it that way, it is impossible to figure out who is who or what is what and when, because we are actually consuming the matches in real time. So, match 1 happens, and then you get a new rating. Match 2 happens, and then match 3, match 4, and now your new rating comes up on your 5th match, and boom, we're dynamically changing you throughout the bracket. So
that's pretty cool.
It does matter for order.
Yeah, that's really good though, because being fresh means so much more than the 5th round, as we all know. Yeah.
Yep. And so then going back to like the 64 thing, now that all these guys are fairly similar rating, you're basically gaining 50-50. It's a 50-50 match each time almost.
Yeah, each
round
very
is about
close. 50-50. Right.
So every person
only at the
can
beginning
gain...
it starts to spread out the further in they get, right?
Yeah. So the first round or two, you're going to be pretty close, because technically if you're 50-50 here and then you win and they win and you come together, you're basically 50-50 again. So that kind of goes down the line. But so one thing I didn't point out is you need to win 9 matches straight to win the tournament.
I was going to ask how many to win. I was going to say that. Yeah. 9.
Yeah,
okay.
It's 9 matches straight to win straight out without a single loss. If you were to lose in the finals, you would have to pull 10 or something. But if you lose the first round, you have to pull 13 times. So to win the tournament.
How do you get an extra 4 matches? I wouldn't even have thought it that way.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot.
Because since I'm not doing so you have the upper 32 and the lower 32. When they come together, they pull each other at the top here, and they pull each other right here. So it actually creates one more match that's not round. Supposed to. Gotcha. Yeah. So I did that because of the wrestling concept of where you can only make it a certain level once you lose. So once the guy loses for the top 4, he can only get into 4th and 5th place. You see what I'm saying? So it's that, I don't know if you're familiar with wrestling brackets, but once you lose a certain spot, you can only get to a certain spot type of thing. Gotcha. But that's only when you get down to like the top 8 section, because we're doing pull-offs for 7th and 8th, 5th and 6th, 3rd and 4th, 1st and 2nd. So
so there'll be some extra matches.
A little bit different concept. Yeah, a little bit different concept at the top 8 than usual.
It's going to be awesome to see the results. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I tell you
Oh
what,
yeah,
watch out for Easton McCormick. Watch out for Nathan Johnson. I think some of
yeah,
those guys are going to be some sleepers. So
yeah. I actually had to I got to pull Easton at Illinois. He felt really strong.
yeah,
Um,
he's got that
he's
long lever too. He's big and he's young. So
yeah, he's gonna do well. Um,
Mhm.
if 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 Easton and David Horniak pull, which could happen, that would be pretty interesting to see. Because they're both kind of similar. They can both do similar things. I think Easton's faster. Easton's probably the tallest one too out of the entire class. I think he's like 6'5" or 6 or
yeah, he's
something.
pretty
Like
big.
he's
Yeah.
pretty ginormous.
But Fabian or whatever's pretty tall too, though, isn't he? He's a big guy.
Yeah, he's pretty big. But Fabian doesn't really top roll. I mean, he can, but he likes the kind of side pressure hook deal. Chris Coppin's mainly a top roller, can't hook. So there's a lot of interesting kind of matchups in the beginning that I think will set the tone for the rest of the tournament.
Flash pins will be a big deal if somebody can get a flash pin.
Yeah, that's the
That'd
Jody
be a
Williams for you.
big plus.
Yeah,
If you can
Jody's
get-
going to be a surprise too, man. He's I mean generally a lefty, right? So a lot of these guys
Yeah.
are pulling right-handed that
Yeah.
are better lefty.
Yeah, that
So
that was a big deal. Is everyone's like, "Well, Jody's really good. He's on arm wars and everything else." I was like, "Guys, you're talking about his left arm. You can be a different
still good
puller
right-handed,
one hand
though.
to the other." Oh yeah, I know he's good. He just loses more often. So
The rating proves that.
yeah,
Right.
like I'm pretty good left-handed, but I still lose left-handed a lot.
what's next for
Right.
you?
Yeah. Oh, so uh, I got invited to top 8 for the WAC thing over in Dubai with Igor Mazarenko.
Wow.
So I had to make an executive decision, and you'll be the first to know this. But they originally wanted me to go to 172, and depending on the timeline they wanted for 172, it was going to interfere with the round robin stuff and interfere with nationals. It was going to interfere with going to worlds as well, because I had to jump up and down in weights a lot. But then they said they were looking for a 189 guy, and for a long time I've been I've been sitting at like 180, and I can make 76s fairly easy. So for a long time I've debated doing anything, getting bigger and all that stuff. I've been a 76 guy for probably the last 10 years or so now. Was a 54 guy for 10 plus years. And Igor's like, if you think you can be strong at 189, I'm like, I think I can be. So I backed out of the round robin, which only simply for the simple fact that I have to get as big as I possibly can. I'm going to go to nationals at 189. I'm going to go to worlds at 189, and I'm going to go win WAC at 189.
Wow.
And it's going to be the biggest version of me you've ever seen. And I've already had a couple people message me and talk to me, and they're like, "You look ridiculous."
You did
So-
look pretty big at Illinois State. I think I called you out on it when I was up there. So
And that was just the normal like 183 range.
right.
Now I'm pushing 189 almost all day long, and I'm even bigger. So, in the Vitacell shot, I can't say enough. It cured my arm, which I can't. Like I seriously fought that for almost 2 years, and it got really bad. The last time I went to Illinois State the year before, it basically made me stop arm wrestling. But that fixed my elbow, and now I'm to the point where I'm pulling heavy again. I'm lifting heavy again. I'm doing all the stuff that I normally do, but a lot stronger. I've worked nothing but my hand. My hand is like out of control strong.
Wow.
It's a different version of me because this is not stuff I've normally done. I've not tried to get big and strong. I've tried to stay lean and tried to, build the tendon strengths and whatnot. So it's a completely different version that most people are not gonna notice. Oh, they'll
Or
notice
be
because I
used
look
to.
ridiculous, but
Yeah.
yeah, but you be used to. I don't feel like I have to be fast anymore. Like I felt back in the day I had to be fast all the time. And now I'm getting to the point where I don't feel like I have to hit all the time because my hand is really strong. Um, I really wanted to test it at Illinois, but I kind of, I just got the shots done. They told me to wait. Yeah, but now, like I pulled with Fabian, I pulled with Chris, you know, Isaac and all those guys. And like my hand is so strong I can't even move my hand anymore. So I pulled
Wow.
AJ. He AJ couldn't budge my hand. He's like, I don't know what you're doing, but your hand feels ridiculous. So
Did you do that
it's
just
all and it,
right-handed?
yeah. That shit sucked. That was horrible. I hate shots. So
Awesome.
that was the most painful shot I've ever done. No, it probably is because it's in my fucking elbow, but it sucked. It was bad.
Yeah.
Well, worth it though, right? So
I like I said, I can't thank them enough for letting me come there for that opportunity for free and everything else, which is fantastic. Uh, and I contemplated to stop arm wrestling so many times after that injury, and it literally cured me my arm. I can't even say anything. I've literally tried everything else, peptides, other anti-inflammatories, drugs, MRIs, X-rays, everything. Nothing worked. I mean, peptides worked a little bit, but never enough to fix the problem. And the stem cells worked. Simply stated, they worked.
that's awesome, man. I
So,
can't wait to see you in action at Nationals. I will be down there, so that'll be
mhm.
fun because that'll be I guess the first one where you're fully
Yeah.
healthy and ready to
So,
roll after the shot.
yeah, nationals will be my first event that I pull at 189. The big version of me. Uh, uh, and then the first whack is for me is June 29th. So I go to Dubai in June.
You know you're pulling?
Uh, no, they haven't. They haven't. I know the other guys that are from America that are coming. I don't know if I'm allowed to release the names or anything,
Yeah, I got you.
um, I don't know who they're putting me against or anything. First, if I feel even half as good as I feel right now, it don't matter.
Right.
Even against the American guys, I feel like the two Americans, which are really good Americans. Don't get me wrong. I feel like they don't know this version. This is a
Wow.
different. This is not the same.
Well, I would suggest stay fast, hit anyway, even though you don't have to.
Yeah, yeah,
It's always better
yeah,
to be first
Yep.
than wait.
yeah.
So
Ricky Bobby, that shit.
keep the nickname. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's too hard not to go fast.
Yeah.
But
Awesome,
but
man.
yeah,
Well,
so I got all that, and then nationals, and then I'm running my tournament in July. Then Colorado State, big Colorado State in September, and then Worlds in Greece, in beginning of October timeframe, stuff like that.
did you
So
have to do anything special to your program for the 64 bracket? Did you tweak anything, or you just
oh
it
god,
was ready to go?
yeah, no, no, dude, no. Uh, I thought it was gonna be super simple, like, hey, I'll just take the 32 and kind of flip it or something. And then I realized like that doesn't fucking work. You can't do that. And then so that's where I came up with the idea of doing pull-offs every single spot for the top eight. Because I was like, well, if I combine it here, then it makes sense. And if I split it into two 32s, then it makes more sense. Because essentially I'm making four 16-man brackets, essentially, and then combining them. So and it adds more excitement, right? You got those pull offs that normally you'll never see, and so yes, I had to modify it quite a bit to get the. It's a one off. I'm
Gotcha.
not
Well,
selling it to anybody.
I've been using,
Yeah.
your program since I think 2018 maybe for Illinois State. So it's been about 8 years, and I think I just used it a couple months ago. And you've made quite a few changes to it that made it a lot easier, a lot better. So I mean, it's come a long way. it was super easy to work. I had some issues even with the brackets and adding them in, and it was no problem. So if people aren't using that system and they don't have a system, I don't really understand. They definitely need to reach out to you. Is that all they have to do to get the program? Just reach out to you? Or is there a website or anything where they can actually buy the program that way?
No, so I thought about doing that in the past, but it's so much easier just to work with them and set up a time because I train them over a WebEx, and show them everything, teach them how to do it, so they're aware of how you can quickly add and remove people. You can do all that kind of stuff. Um, it just seems like it works better when I go through a little 30-minute spiel of how it works. Um, and then they feel more confident in running stuff and typing things and all that. But yeah, I have guys, like Lee said, I have guys who don't even have computers. I built them a laptop and send it to them, and I teach them in 30 minutes, and they've used it ever since. And then I have guys that, like you, are like, "Hey man, I'm in a pickle. I need to do this. Can you help me out?" Yeah, sure. I'll send you this and figure it out with you or whatever. And it's not about the money or anything for real. It's not really about the money or anything. I've lost more money in this than
Yeah, you'll
maintain
never get
it,
that
but
time back. Yeah.
no, no. But and it's a one-time fee now, and you get training, you get all the updates from that point on. If you want custom things, like build custom stuff too. Like Canada has their own version. It's ridiculous, but they have their own version. And
Well, they
there's
are
a couple
Canadian,
others.
so
Yeah, so Ryan Johnson's got his own points version and whatever. And
Got to put a
you know,
maple leaf on it.
it has a maple leaf. It
There you
definitely
go.
has a maple leaf. Yeah. So yeah, I do all kinds of custom one-offs and stuff, and I really don't understand why anyone wouldn't want to use it.
neither do
Challenge is a piece of junk. It has so many issues, and you have to worry about internet and all that crap. So with mine, you don't worry about internet. It's standalone. You can move it to multiple machines. You can do dual screen stuff or whatever you want. Um, it's so much easier to modify or fix the bracket really quickly. I built it when the idea of how arm wrestling tournaments work. I understand when you're in the middle of a tournament, someone drops out, you got to buy or this or that or whatever, and you fucked up a bracket. I know that because I've been there, and I want to know how fast it's going to take me to fix it, and the system can do it in about 3 seconds. It takes you longer to get the guy's name than to change the bracket real fast. So
definitely. And the only reason I don't use it, man, is because I have my system runs with a bunch of different registration things, and it's all custom. Right. But it can't go anywhere else. It's like your 64 bracket, right? Like it's one and done. Yeah. Nobody gets that one. If it wasn't, I'd probably be using yours for sure because that's the one I know.
And there's a lot of stuff that I would love to do with the registration that you're doing in the future. And Frank and I have talked about it many times, but I know you know this already, but that's a lot of fucking work. Like, it's a lot of stuff that most promoters don't want to even bother with. Mm-hmm. They want to I want to be as close to what I remember with paper, and I want it to be easy. And that's what it's built off of. It's very similar to paper, and it's very simple to use. So that was the whole concept. There is some of those one-offs people that want to do what you're doing and stuff like that, but there's not enough of them to do what you're doing. So,
no, and it definitely gets to be a pain for sure. So, and I don't know how you would do it and then move that around everywhere is the problem. Like people want me to use my system. Like I can't take it. I'd have to take everything, and it just doesn't work.
It would have to go. We'd have to go web-based, app-based, something along those lines, database online, whatever. Tie it directly into AERS.
We could talk later. I think you could work something out with registration for your system, though, where you could at least import. So we could talk about that for sure. But I don't want to keep you all night, man. I do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to talk with us about this historical event that you're putting on. We do appreciate it. I can't wait to watch it and keep up with it on Friday. Other than your system and AERSarm.com, do you have anything else you want to plug before we take off?
No, I mean, I can't. Like I said, I can't thank Bob Brown and the Vitacell guys enough for help sponsoring. That
And
really
fixing
added
your arm.
Yeah, I am fixing my arm. That's fantastic. I cannot. Once that happened, that is literally when everything went crazy. Like the amount of money, and it's not even that a lot of money, but that just that extra level, showing the support from those guys, I think really helped us
Yeah.
grow with this. Um,
Mhm.
and that's not the only person I want to expand to. I have another company that I've been trying to go work with that could really push us to the next level. And again, I'm not making anything on this. I'm doing this for everyone else. I don't plan to make a dollar on this thing, not right now at least. The whole concept is to make arm wrestling and arm wrestlers be able to grow and move further and do more things. So um, I feel like together we're better, and it's not good to be against each other all the time. And this is the way you do it. You put on stuff that's never been done before, that people say can't be done, and that's all I'm about, is breaking records and doing things that someone can't tell me I can't do. So that's all
Dude,
I've
when
done
you
my whole
first
career.
said something about a 64-man bracket on Facebook, I just
I'm
read
sure you
that
thought it was
like,
crazy.
what the fuck is he talking about?
I was like, he better have 20 alternates sitting around because everybody's going to cancel on him 4 days out.
At least 10, yeah, at least 10.
I've had 22. Okay.
Yeah, so I was right on. I was close.
You were
So you
closer.
filled it up though, so that's good.
Yep.
Yeah. No, it's gonna
Well,
be exciting, guys. I'm really excited. I hope you guys watch. I hope everyone else watches. It's
Oh
gonna be
yeah,
a
I'm
good
gonna
time.
watch. Yeah.
no,
Oh
I
yeah.
will. I'll promote it. Everything I can do to help get eyes on it. I'm definitely going to be watching. I love big brackets, and
Oh yeah.
this is amazing. Like it's just amazing. So I appreciate everything you've done, man. I really do.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Well, that's
Yeah.
it.
Thanks for coming.
I guess that's another report in the books. Remember, AERSarm.com, but definitely Armfighter.com because it's got America's best calendar and the official U.S. rankings. Stay strong, everybody.